Yeah, I was born in India and I lived in India, but the good thing was I somehow got into a Christian environment, even though my dad was Chinese and communist and my mother was Burmese. And I thought, what a strange house, but we all got on all right together. And I remember a lot of the things about India, the noise and the music and stuff. But I also remember the singing of the hymns when we went to church. I remember the first time I came to know the Lord, they had a Billy Graham meeting. I'm sure it was in India the first time. We went to this big square. I remember there being loads of people, and then he gave the call, to come forward. And I think I was about 13 or something, and I went forward, and I felt, I don't know, I just felt lifted when I went forward. And then I thought, oh, am I going forward because everybody else is? But I wasn't, I was going for myself. And I went up to the front. And then after that, I sort of felt needed that I should talk about the Lord and stuff. And my sister, we had a little group in church, different kinds of people. And my sisters and I would say, where are you going? I said, I'm going to the church meeting. And she was always a bit curious because she wondered who it was, because there were Anglo-Indians there, which they were called themselves Anglo-Indians because the third generation English, one of the parents or grandparents were English or something, so it sort of fell down to them. We had people from Bhutan, from Nepal, and they would call them headhunters, and we think, oh, where are they coming from? And apparently they were told they were headhunted, put the head near the tent and that. So we got a little bit, but they were lovely people. They were from the Naga Hills, but they all seemed to blend together when we went to church. And it was lovely when we went to church. I can remember standing in the middle and looking at all the people. On one side there would be people who were just coming in, and on the other side some Chinese, and we all sort of sat in the same place every week, So I was glad I went to church. Somehow it sort of gave me a good, stable life.
Yeah. Funny, the church is the same everywhere. Everyone sits in the same place every week.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Wherever you are in the world.
Yeah.
So where exactly in India were you?
I was born in Calcutta.
Calcutta.
Yeah. It's people call it a grotty place and that, but I knew it as a happy place because I went to church, so I had a Christian upbringing all my life. The hand of God I felt was always, she seemed to follow me, because I thought, oh, why should I come to church anyway? The church even actually paid for part of my education, secretarial education, because they would ask, anybody, what are you going to do after school and stuff like that. So everybody was interested because everybody thought a career will be good for you. So they did pay for me, and I would go. I think my sister said, what are you going to do? You're 16, you've got to earn a living and all that. And then the church people said, oh, well, if you go to college, we'll support you. And so they supported me. Oh. So God was good. I think, even in that time, He sort of prepared me. Because I went to a thing in Inns. I went to a church in Inns for ages, and I think, Lord, what am I going to do? And I said, what can I do, Lord? And I looked up and it said, preach ye the gospel to all the people. That's what I saw on a poster. And I said, oh, that's what it is. That's what I've got to do. So I sort of, from then on, I started going to one or two different Bible seminars. The only short ones. They were the ones I knew because the people associated with them were Christians. They were living abroad. They were having it for a week or something, and you had to pay so much and go. So that's how I went. And I really enjoyed it. I went to, a couple of, they were very uplifting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you,
So, describe to me a day, a Sunday in India. You're going to church.
yeah.
What's it like? Describe the day to me.
Oh yes, it would be nice. When we went to church, Kerry Baptist Church, I went to different churches because I worked in different orphanages in my time in life. But one of the nice things I remember about going to church is when I was in this orphanage, and I was waiting, and I lived in this like big dormitory building, and then the next building was all kids being orphaned and living in there, and they knew I had sweets, so they would come they would come past to go to the Sunday school, and they'd all come to the front, but they knew I had a sweet, and one or two of them would take a sweet, and and then the other girl would say, Jesus, she had one, and I had the sweet, and I thought, oh, how lovely it was that watching all the children go to Sunday school in the morning, all traipsing down, in the saris and little kids and stuff like that. And they would be there for years. Some would be there for many years. And it was a lovely learning curve because it just taught you how humble, how good God is to help people. Because sometimes they'd be late for class, and so why are you late? So they was chasing the cow around trying to get the milk. He couldn't get the milk in time and stuff like that. It was good. But yeah, there was quite a few missionaries who came and helped. Like they do, and you hear a group comes to help and that. And sometimes they would treat them. I went to summer camp as well. And I remember getting, those flies, but they shine at night.
Oh yeah.
Fireflies, that's it. Yeah, and I remember going down in this camp, and I remember walking through, and I would catch some fireflies and go like this and try to see my way through, in case you went into a puddle, the fireflies was come before us. Oh, thank you, Lord, for that. Yeah, so that was good. Sometimes we'd have to if we go out preaching, we would have lanterns, and this one particular time, I think it was near Christmas, and I was in my sister's, it was in a village in Calcutta, out of Calcutta, and we all went, and under the moonlight sky we saw all the patients looking through the window, listening to us, and I thought, oh, I just felt so lifted, and they were all singing or humming, while we went to visit them in church, and at Christmas, and I thought, God, isn't God good? And I looked around and I thought, God's everywhere. God's everywhere. Oh yes, yes. My brother-in-law Archie, he was called Archie Shear because his grandfather was Scottish. And what happened in India that time, up in the Nepalese hills and that, a lot of the Scottish men came to be the overseers of the local people. And Archie's father was Scottish, but his mother was Nepalese. So he had a name Shear, S-I-G-A-R. And the funny thing about it is because they built an orphanage in Kalimpong. Everybody will know this. Kalimpong is called Kalimpong Homes. It's the end place where you can go to because our missionaries send their children there because it's going to be a good Christian education there. Yeah, and he went there, Kalimpong Homes it's called. And his grandparents were Scottish. One of the things was Scottish. And one day I was having lunch somewhere when I was in Thailand. And I was going to breakfast. And I just sort of talked to her. And he said, I said, where have you come from? He said, I said, Kalimpong Homes. I said, that's where my brother-in-law lived. He was a vicar there. He said, oh, he said, I knew him. He said, I've seen his poster. And all the way from India, he'd come, I don't know where he'd come from, and he'd seen the post and said, "Oh, thank you, Archie. You're well famous now." Yeah, this fellow had known him. It's I don't know how God places people and how he does it.
Archie was in India and married a sister. And then when the mum left India at 17, 18, you travelled to different places, didn't you? Thailand before working for the United Nations before she came to England. But she's worked in China and other places because you work for the Foreign Office. Is that
That's right,
what you
yeah.
mean to say? So it was a posting.
Yeah,
China,
the only thing, I don't know how God worked it, but I didn't know I wanted to work in China or anything. And I remember somebody in Biggin or something looking at this paper, Daily Mail it was, and he said, "Look at this." He said, "If you go abroad, you'll get a flat, you'll get your wages, you no gas, you no electricity to pay for it." That's for me, I thought. And I applied, and you know, the day I applied, God thank you, it was the last day I was 50, and 50 was the age, that was the cut-off age. And I was just writing it, and I got an interview. So it's just...
Right, so you went from India to England to China.
Yes.
Right,
Yes.
right.
With a few places in between, but to China from England.
Right.
Working at age 50.
Right.
The church in China was just remarkable. To get to the church, the international church there in China, I don't know what it was called, we had to go to a certain place at a certain time, and we'd have to sit down and wait. And sometimes, you know, the Chinese people would be late and stuff.
Was it an underground church or a normal a Christian church in Beijing?
It wasn't an underground church. It was a big international church where people met.
So it was
Met at
international.
a certain, and you just anybody couldn't go. If you invited thing to look at you, you know what I mean. You could just ask of certain people, and I met one or two people who were going from China there, and then going back to do missionary work.
So strangely, she learned most of her Chinese when she came to England,
Right.
not at home,
Not from your mum.
not from her dad.
Not from her
Was
dad.
Chinese,
All right.
mother was Burmese, but she was
Burmese,
born in India.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't speak any Chinese at all, which was disgusting to my dad because, you know, he said, "You're Chinese, if you can't speak Chinese, you're neither use nor ornament." So anyway. So yeah,
What
I
did
went
they
to
speak in
England.
Burma? Burmese?
Burmese, yeah, Burmese.
And you didn't speak that either?
Knew few words, what, you know.
So I think your mother was she was Buddhist, wasn't she, Mum?
My mother was Buddhist.
So you went to a temple a lot as a child.
I did go because she'd take me to the temple, and I remember going and looking at the statue. It was a really great big statue. I had to sit at the front and keep quiet.
And she collected her uncles from the opium den.
Right.
Oh yes, I did. I did. I thought when my dad was missing, and my mother would say, "Go and get him for a dinner." And I didn't know it was an opium den until I saw it on television one day, and I thought, "Oh, that's where my dad would go to."
But you met God, didn't you, through Billy Graham?
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, it was.
Age 13, 14.
Yes.
I thought opium dens were a Chinese thing, but in India as well, were they?
Well,
What
there
was?
would be a Chinese quarter because they lived in Calcutta in Bow Barracks, so it would have been.
That's an Anglo-Indian.
Anglo-Indian.
Yeah. The different parts of Calcutta where different people lived, and Anglo-Indians who were sort of thought they were British and stuff like that. They were a bit toughy-nosed. And then there were the Indians. Then there was the middle class. There was a mixture. Mixture.
Yeah.
Yeah. The women, they cooked their meals at home. And I don't know how they can find out thousands would go there in different homes, and they'd go to the house and say, "Oh, this is for Miss Wong or whatever it is," and they'd take them on this. And we've seen them on this big trays there,
Tiffins.
and they call them tiffin,
yeah.
tiffin carriers. And a load of them would go to this one place. And I thought, how do they know? And then they'd meet, and somehow, some language or whatever, they'd go to different parts, and you'd get your dinner on time. So whenever you ordered your dinner at home, I ordered it from this English lady because she needed the money, and I knew she was good home cooking, you know. So I'll have 3-course meal, rice, dal, and vegetables. And then sometimes I'll have a dessert as well. And it would come on this
Tiffin.
tray.
Yeah.
And they'd go to this massive place, and then they'd go off in the different ways, different parts of Calcutta, and you'd get your dinner on time. So all the men and that, you know, I thought, no wonder they're waiting and that. You know, you're waiting for your dinner to come. I thought, how cool is that? So I thought, oh, God's been faithful and blessed. I've been blessed.